what if you could hit a reset button on your entire mind? Imagine a therapeutic experience so powerful it does just that. That's the journey we're diving into today, a new frontier in therapy that's showing some absolutely remarkable results. I mean, just listen to that. This comes from someone who actually went through psilocybin therapy, and it just perfectly captures the heart of what's going on. This isn't just about feeling a little better for a while. We're talking about a fundamental rewiring of how the mind works. So that's the big question, right? How in the world can one single experience create such a deep and lasting change for people who are dealing with some of the toughest conditions out there? Well, to figure that out, we're going to look at this fascinating study where researchers did something brilliant in its simplicity. They just listened. They gathered personal stories from people who'd gone through the therapy to try and map out the journey from the inside. And we're not talking about just a handful of stories here. They looked at the experiences of 96 different people from 10 separate studies. And these weren't just healthy volunteers, these were real people struggling with very serious health challenges. And just look at the sheer range of what these folks were up against. We're talking about everything from the deep distress that comes with a cancer diagnosis to treatment-resistant depression, addiction, and serious trauma. The variety here is what makes their findings so incredible. Because here's the thing. Despite all the different backgrounds, the different illnesses, a clear, common pattern started to show up in their stories. It was like everyone, in their own way, was describing the exact same therapeutic journey. And that journey breaks down into these three core pillars: acceptance, connection, and transformation. Think of this as a kind of roadmap for healing that shows how this therapy really works. So let's start at the beginning with the very first pillar. Okay, pillar number 1 is acceptance. Now, we have to be really clear about what this means. This is not about giving up or just resigning yourself to your fate. It's a radical shift in perspective, seeing yourself and your situation in a completely new, non-judgmental light. It's really about no longer being at war with your own reality. It's about looking at a difficult truth, maybe for the first time, and just acknowledging it as a part of your story. And it turns out that's the essential foundation for everything that comes next. This quote just nails the idea of self-acceptance. This participant, who was living with HIV, talked about seeing all the parts of his mind, the good, the bad, the dark, the beautiful, and realizing it's all just there, and that's okay. And this acceptance extends to the illness itself. Here, someone with cancer stopped seeing it as this evil invader they had to fight. Instead, they saw it as woven into the fabric of their life. To go from seeing cancer as a bad, separate thing to something beautiful, that's just a huge, profound shift. You see, when you stop spending all your energy fighting what is, you free yourself up to start building what can be. And that acceptance is precisely what opens the door to the next critical stage of this journey. Which brings us to our second pillar, connection. After that deep internal shift of acceptance, people consistently started describing this powerful external shift, moving away from the crushing isolation that so often comes with being sick. When you're struggling with a chronic illness or a mental health condition, it's so easy to feel like you're completely cut off from the rest of the world. Well, this pillar is the direct antidote to that feeling. It's this deep, powerful sense of belonging to something much, much bigger than yourself. I mean, can you imagine that? To go through life feeling like an outsider looking in, and then suddenly, for the very first time, to feel like you are truly a part of it all? What's crucial is that researchers found this wasn't just a fleeting feeling, it was a lasting change. And this connection wasn't just limited to other people. As this person with cancer explained, it was this feeling of being interwoven with everything, with nature, with the universe. And the most powerful takeaway from that incredible feeling was simple. You're just not alone. So you have acceptance as the solid ground you're standing on, and connection as the bridge leading you out of isolation. And when you put those two powerful forces together, well, that's when the final and most profound step becomes possible. And that brings us to the big one, transformation. This isn't just about a temporary mood boost. We are talking about a durable, fundamental change in a person's life, their identity, and their entire outlook. Transformation is really where everything comes together. It's where the insights you gain from acceptance and connection get integrated into your actual day-to-day life. It's the point where you stop being defined by your illness and start becoming a more whole version of yourself. Just listen to the pure joy in those words. The experience reconnected this person to the simple, incredible gift of just being alive. It didn't erase the hardship, but it brought this overwhelming sense of gratitude to the forefront. Ultimately, what's happening here is that this journey allows a person to rewrite their own story. They go from seeing themselves as, say, a person with depression or a cancer patient to simply being a person, whole, complete, and with a brand new sense of purpose. So, we've walked through this incredible three-step journey. But why is this so important? Why does mapping this internal experience matter so much? Well, because understanding it could totally change how we think about healing itself. So what should we take away from all this? Well, first, that real lasting healing might be less about just managing symptoms and more about a deep shift in perspective. And second, this path, through acceptance, connection, and transformation, it seems to be a kind of universal map for recovery. And that leaves us with this huge final question to think about. If we now know that these core human experiences, acceptance and connection, are the keys to such a powerful transformation, could that insight completely reshape our entire approach to mental health, to well-being, and to what it truly means to heal?